Today is March 17th. For chapel today, what I want to talk about is this simple thought. Jesus is human. As we approach the death of Jesus, it is not just Jesus' death that is needing to be considered, but also the relationship with Jesus' humanity. Jesus is one of a kind, both fully God and fully human. No other person has ever been able to claim this. None can. For much of the ancient world, there's a strong connection between their idols, false gods, and like those in Greek mythology, and people interacting with these gods and praying for them for them to have some sort of impact. In the case of Jesus' humanity, it's not viewed as less. In every other part of the medieval world, I mean, not the medieval, but the ancient world, sorry. In every other part of the ancient world, God is viewed as removed from humanity. Humanity is viewed as less than God. But in the case of Jesus' humanity is not viewed as a problem to overcome, but a natural part of him. The book of Matthew and Luke tell us that Jesus was born of a virgin and is fully God and fully human. John 11 talks about Jesus crying and weeping as he experienced the painful loss of a friend. Mark 4 and Matthew 8 talk about Jesus sleeping on a boat. And Mark 2 tells us that Jesus eating a meal with people. I say all these things because they seem simple. Crying, being upset, having emotions, eating, sleeping. Why do these things matter? They matter because in the story of Jesus, the most important thing is to understand that he was fully God and fully human, simultaneous, at the same time. This means what? That's because what it means is that no other religion, none, can claim God has experienced human life. Islam has prophets, like Muhammad, who ascend, according to their religion, ascend to be closer to God in their death. Yet, not even Islam, not Judaism, not Buddhism, Taoism, Shintoism, or Hinduism claim that their God was human and God simultaneously. Most of these religions view God as someone separate, someone removed from that part of the narrative. Humanity's here, God is here. These two things do not mix. God watches over and rules over humanity because it's a lesser, blah, blah, blah. But Christianity doesn't say that. Christianity says he was fully God and fully human. He ate, he slept. He cried, he wept. He experienced everything that it means to be human. And it means that God knows what it means to be human. That God understands what it's like to struggle. Even something as simple as having a leg cramp. Christianity can say God has experienced that. And what it means is that God brought into himself humanity forever. Jesus is forever human. And that forever humanity creates a space in God that is always human. The Easter season is about that. It's about that period of understanding that God died on a cross to pave a way for God and humanity to interact with each other. And we'll look at the cross more next week. Well, not next week, because next week's spring break, but the week after. But the fact that God is fully human means that God creates a place for humanity in God. And it means that because of that, we can recognize that we are loved and cared for by God. We have value in God, and God places value in us. So much so as to change the entirety of who God is to a certain extent by becoming partially human. And as lowly and complicated as humanity is, that's exactly what God did. God experienced the same things we did, and I take great joy in that fact, because it means that when I pray and I have a problem, I have a situation, God's experienced the emotions of anxiety, the emotion of depression, the emotions of it all. God's human, even today, 2,000 years after his death. That's fantastic. Okay, that's what I wanted to talk about today. A little bit shorter, but God is human, and therefore we can appreciate God in new ways because of God's humanity, and God appreciates us in ways that no one else can claim, because God experienced humanity and still experiences humanity. That's a wild thought, isn't it? At least I think it is. Anyway, you guys are going to have fun on spring break next week, and then when we come back, we'll be talking about the cross, Easter, the tomb, some of that stuff right before Easter. Have fun.